What's up, everybody? It is Monday, time for Master Motivation. My name is Jason Flame, and today I have a very special guest. I have Michelle Liddell, and I can't wait to talk about her and her story. And just as a reminder for those of you that are tuning in and watching today, the reason that I started this podcast and this series was to really highlight and recognize people that have motivated me and inspired me in my life. And, over the course of 2021, I will conduct over 52 interviews, and I was so very happy to invite Michelle to be on the show. So welcome to the show, Michelle. Thank you for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor. I was surprised and kind of shocked to be asked to do this, but very excited. And the people that you've interviewed so far have just been tremendous. So if anyone hasn't seen some of the previous interviews, definitely check them out. They're on YouTube, and they've been so inspirational for me leading up to today, too.
Yeah, it's really cool to kind of sit back and listen to my guests and really hear your story. And as we kind of dive into your story, one of the things that motivates me and inspires me the most is, and I'm wearing a shirt here that says, hardest worker in the room. If you know, I'm a huge rock fan. Um, I don't know very many people that work as hard as you and your husband Ross do, and it's something that I so appreciate. Is people that know how to work hard, people that hustle, people that get out there, and even more than that, it's the engagement in the community and the giving back attitude that you guys have. So that's really the reason that I have you here today, just to talk about all the things you do, because sometimes people just don't get to see that and get to hear it. So what I want to do first is just start way back from the beginning. Not that it was that long ago, because you're not really that old yet. But talk about your childhood and talk about growing up. You're a Southern California native, so talk about that.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Simi Valley, which is just right over the hill from where you live and your family. Ross and I actually live right around the corner from the house that I grew up in. So not only did we grow up here, but really planted roots here. Ross isn't from Simi Valley, so I've kind of converted him over to our side now. But growing up, my mom was a teacher. From a very, very young age, she just instilled this love of learning for me. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I would love to just go to school and learn the rest of my life. I have always had an extreme passion for just getting as much knowledge as possible about all sorts of things. I don't have really a favorite subject. I loved math and science and language arts. The one thing that throughout my whole life I've really been passionate about is actually California history, which is kind of strange, but with the gold rush and everything like that, when people came to California, it was to pursue a dream, and they had to overcome so many obstacles to get here. And that was something that has resonated with me my whole life, just how hard people have worked to have what they have. And I saw that through my family growing up. Both of my parents worked very hard to ensure that my sisters and I had a lot of tools. We had the resources that we needed to be able to do sports, to be able to do after school activities and all of those things. And I saw, not only in my own life, but in my sister's lives as well, how these small little things throughout our lives build us into the women that we became. So for me, school was always number one priority. I tried to do sports, and that really wasn't my forte. I did one year of soccer, and I was the goalie, and I said there was too much running. In softball, my favorite part of softball was being on the bench and cheering on my teammates. That was my favorite part. But for me, what I found connected with me was student government, leadership, and opportunities where I could give back to my community. And I was very fortunate, very blessed. Didn't truly have to work too hard in my own life as a child, but wanted to use those things that I had to give back to others that didn't have those same opportunities. And I think from an early age, I learned that's what I loved. I loved giving back. I loved, going and picking up the park and picking up the trash, and just to make it more beautiful for other people. And so, like I said, school was always super important to me, something I loved. So that is really what I set my goal was, to become a teacher, and especially elementary. That was my love, because I got to teach all the subjects, everything that I was passionate about. And that was really what I was focused on. So all throughout school, I was the one that made sure that every assignment was turned in. I wasn't the one that would remind the teacher, oh, there's a test. I knew the limits, I wanted to have friends too. Um, but that was really it. So after high school, I set off. I went to Cal State Long Beach to pursue a teaching credential and to get my bachelor's. I actually had a little bit of an incident in Long Beach that I don't really talk about too much. And it was just a night I wasn't really paying attention to my surroundings, wasn't paying attention to what was going on. Someone had like come out of a bush, and I had to run away. It was just a moment in my life that I luckily haven't had too many of those, but it was enough to kind of shake me up. It was the time I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm out of my hometown, the safe community that I was so used to. And at that point, I decided I need to get back. I need to get back where I can feel safe, where I can feel that I don't have to worry about those things as much. And so I came back to Simi Valley. I decided I'm going to go to Cal State Northridge for 1 year or one semester. I didn't want to be there very long. I told myself, oh, everyone goes to Cal State Northridge. I don't want to do that. I want to do more than that. And then it's so funny. I got there and I loved it. They had the most amazing education program. I got involved with the sorority and I met the love of my life, Ross. And it's just so interesting how things in life work out and get you to where you're supposed to be, even if you don't plan on being there. And that's where I finished my degree. Some of the most incredible professors I could have ever dreamed of were at CSUN, and I had pushed so hard about, I don't want to be there, I don't want to go there. And thank goodness it all worked out. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have my husband and everything else that worked out just from that incident.
Well, life always has a way of teaching us these crazy, insane lessons that really affect, your whole life. Let's check in with a couple people that are watching. Dane says that those civics activities are the things that set you up to be a thinker and how to see life around you, not just in a tunnel. And
Absolutely.
Dane was one of our guests, so happy to have him watching. And my wife is right here, and she is also a CSUN alum. She got her degree in psychology. So I went there for about 6 weeks. That was about all I can handle
Well,
because
and
I opened my
Ross
business
too.
that same year.
Yeah, Ross was not a student actually when we met. He went to school for, oh gosh, he's gonna tease me because I can't remember. I think he did like a year and a half at CSUN, but he was working in the movie studios at the same time. And you know, I love school. It is amazing. It's my passion. Ross, not so much. That wasn't his thing. He'd rather be out and doing things. He actually struggled a lot growing up. He couldn't read till he was in fourth grade, and just our two experiences in life are so different. And that was actually one of the things when we met, that he got me out of my comfort zone, and he opened me up to all of these things that I didn't know. And he actually helped me be a better teacher, because not all the students were like me. Not everyone loves school, and I could use some of his experiences to help mold me into a better teacher and all of that. But yeah, we met through CSUN, but actually at a frat party that he was at, and that really wasn't my thing either, but it was across the street from my sorority house, and just it was fate. It was meant to be that we were both there. And as they say, the rest is history. But it's been really incredible to see our journey over the past 13 years, how the two of us, we were so opposite. And now he's become a little bit more like me. And I hope I've become more like him, just because life's boring if everyone's the same.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, one of the things that I really love about you and love about Ross, you guys remind me a lot of my wife and I, when we were a little younger, and how our marriage is, because we're very much opposites in a lot of way, but we complement each other so much. And that's what I see in you and Ross, is that you guys always have complemented each other in everything that you do. You guys are just a rock star team, and we'll get into talking about your business and some of the things that you've done. But I want to go back a little bit more, back to school. You talked about how you just absolutely love school, and they always say that leaders are learners. And you talked a lot about the subjects that you love, and you went on to become a teacher. What were some of your challenges in becoming a teacher?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. Honestly, one of the biggest ones is when I was doing all of my observations and student teaching and that type of thing. I'm only 4'11. Uh, don't
And a
wear a
half.
ton of makeup. I and a half. There is a half inch there. And so I would get stopped all the time. Oh, I need to see your ID card. Oh, I need to see your lunch pack. And I'd have to tell. No, I'm a staff member. So that was one of the biggest things for me going through the program. I want to say it really came kind of naturally, especially since my mom had been in education. So getting my degree, getting my teaching credential, that all seemed like a piece of cake. It seemed like I was able to connect with the students, and my passion really came through. But the time that I was getting my credential was right when the new standards were being rolled out, all the Common Core standards that I know a lot of people have feelings towards. Now, for me, I get my classroom, I get everything, but there were no resources. There was no curriculum written that was supposed to match what I'm supposed to teach. And I'm a rule follower. So if I'm supposed to go through these standards, I'm going to go through all those standards. So I was very, very blessed at the school that I was teaching at. It was Santa Rosa Technology Magnet School in Camarillo. Just the most incredible educators you could imagine. They took me under their wing, they helped me out. We would brainstorm together, and really, as a group, we wrote the curriculum. We wrote what would be best for our students, and did as much as we possibly could. Now, that being said, it was so many hours, I can't even begin to tell you. It was before school, after school. I mean, just non-stop work. But it was so rewarding. So I think one of the biggest challenges was just not necessarily having those resources and tools available with the new standards that had been rolled out, with the pushback from parents too, because I mean, let's face it, math these days does not look like math when we were growing up.
Nope.
Um, but it was not to get too into it, I do think that the Common Core standards are really great and really fundamental for students, but I strongly believe they should have been rolled out a little differently. I think it should have started in kindergarten, then go to first, then kind of build up. But students are so resilient that they grabbed onto it. They learned it. But I know even nowadays, I get some phone calls from my sister, with my niece, and how am I supposed to do this? What are they asking? And so I think that's a challenge, not just for me, but that was for all educators. Now, I was pretty blessed that I got out of it before everything happened with the pandemic, because what teachers are doing nowadays, I just have to give them all the credit in the world. I mean, to switch gears, to do distance learning, to reach their learners, it's just incredible. And they've been so flexible. I know with Moorpark Unified and Simi Unified, they are doing all that they can to make sure that these students are getting the education, the tools that they need, getting back to class, and again, I know people feel differently, but I feel very strongly, let's get these kids back in there. Let's give them the socialization that they need. And, let's all get back to our lives.
Yes, definitely agree with all of that. And you mentioned that students are resilient, and I was just going to say, COVID, if anything, COVID has taught us that it's really easy to go one way. It's a little more work to go the other way. But what we've seen is most people have really, educators specifically, have gone the extra mile to make it the absolute best experience. Because I mean, some people just don't truly understand. I watched my instructors do it here, and teaching martial arts on a screen was pretty challenging. So for the teachers to do what they've done for the past year, but like you said, students are resilient, and just as a human, we're resilient. We learn, we adapt, we overcome. Um, some people are going to find the easy way out, but as we talk about on this show a lot, there are the people that are the leaders that step up and really make a difference. Something that I wanted to ask you as I was listening to your teaching experience, was there a specific teacher when you were younger as a child, or even into high school, or maybe there were several, because we all have those teachers that really stood out and made a difference. They just planted something up here, that either made you want to be a teacher or an educator or a coach or a cheerleader, that kind of person. Were there certain people that you want to give a shout out? They may see this, they may not, but I'm
Yeah,
sure there's a few out there.
there absolutely were. I was so blessed to have just a life full of great educators. I have to start with my mom. She was wonderful. She was doing flashcards with me every day. I had horrible penmanship growing up, and she made sure that I was practicing. And now I have beautiful writing, so I definitely have to. Oh, I just saw Dane's comment. I I completely understand. Hit me up on Facebook. I can help you out with all the Common Core math. um, but my mom, first of all, was just great. She planted the seeds. Now, my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Fowles, we're friends on Facebook. I hope she sees this. She was just wonderful. She was doing things at that time that no one else was doing. She would do these incredible units on sea mammals because that was really her passion. And we were able to go whale watching and do all of these things. And so the students that didn't like math, well, they wanted to measure a whale, they wanted to do these things. And I saw her get all of us engaged in so many things. She's really the one that sparked my love for California history and really taught me just how to look at problems differently, how to take a task and maybe it's something you don't feel like doing, but you have to do it. So let's figure out a way to make it fun. Let's make it enjoyable. So not only as a student, but as a teacher, I really tried to mold a lot of what I did after Mrs. Fowles. She was just wonderful. She was one of those that anyone that had her knows that she was just the best. She was doing it for her students, and even to this day, she is posting videos online for work that she's doing with some wildlife conservation, and they're great tools for any teachers to use that are still doing distance learning and things like that. So even now, she's continuing to give back to the community, and so I think it's educators like that that really inspired me, not only to be a great teacher, but just to be a good person in general.
Yeah, and so a follow up to that would be, your mom was a teacher, then you became a teacher. How did you feel? Did you feel that you were maybe compared to her, or maybe that she would have the advice, hey, you should do it this way. This is the way I did it. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's a whole nother dynamic to this because the district that I was hired in, my mom was also the superintendent. So my mom was my boss's boss, essentially. And she spent her whole teaching career in that same district. So I had huge shoes to fill. I mean, she was a great teacher. She really gave her whole life to that district. And so coming in, everyone joked I was a first year teacher and my mom's in there helping me set up my classroom. And how many superintendents are in there,
Hmm.
setting up a first year classroom? But I'm also the type of person that likes things done my way. I have my own way in life that I like to go about doing things. So she was telling me, oh, you're going to want to put this basket over here and this basket over here. Well, it's a little difficult when she's technically my boss, but she's also my mom. So I listened to her. And then when she left, I put everything back where I wanted it to be, and all of that. But she was a great resource, and she made the job looked so easy when we were growing up. I did not see all the hours that she was putting in or anything like that. So I remember once I got in the classroom, I was calling her going, how come you didn't tell me that it was going to be all of this other stuff? And she said, well, I did it. You just didn't know. You were sleeping or you were doing other things. So she did a really good job, especially when we were young, balancing work and home life and all of that. But there were definitely a lot of comparisons or things like that. But luckily, it was also a great resource for me, a tool that I could ask
Mhm.
her, hey, what do you think about this? And for her as well, she was getting the insight of what it's like to be a teacher in her district and if there were any things that she could do to improve that. And she took all of those very well. She took my suggestions a little bit more than I took her suggestions.
A little bit of wisdom there, right?
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about your mom, and you mentioned that you have some sisters, and we haven't talked a whole lot about your dad. So talk about your dad and your sisters, and just kind of how that dynamic was growing up.
Absolutely. So, my family is interesting. I have three half sisters. So, my dad was married before, my mom was married before, and then they got together and they had me. So, I grew up with. I'm the youngest of all four of us. I grew up with my sister Diana. She and I are kind of opposites. So, I kind of followed the straight and narrow road, and she liked to test the limits. And so I really feel like growing up, I saw her getting in trouble. She never did anything too crazy. I mean, I was just a very, very good kid, but she would stay out past curfew with her friends, things like that.
Hmm.
So I would see, oh, Diana got grounded. Oh, we'd be sitting upstairs together going, oh, how bad is this one going to be? She's 6 years older than I am, but we always joked that she was kind of my younger, older sister. But so that was a big part of my life too, is kind of growing up with her. And then my two oldest sisters, Jennifer and Stephanie, they lived in Oregon with their mom, but then they would come down and visit us during the summertime, and they'd basically spend all of the summer with us. Well, that was amazing. I was the youngest of all of them. They were such great big sisters. We would do, fashion shows, and they'd play Barbies with me, even though they were older than I was. And to this day, it's so nice because they're all very different individuals, and I've learned so much from each of them. My sister Stephanie is just extremely independent and just this powerhouse woman that is kind of unstoppable. My oldest sister Jennifer is probably the smartest person I've ever met in my life. She could do anything, and she decided to be an elementary school teacher as well. And I know her students are just so blessed to have her as their educator. And I'm also very lucky because my sisters have blessed me with nieces and nephews that are just the loves of my life. They are just so incredible. And Ross and I don't have any children. We have two cats, but no babies of our own. So it's been really neat to see through their kids just this great life cycle, and how they grow and how they're similar to our siblings. Ross's sister also has two daughters that are just great. And then growing up, another dynamic, my cousin Michael grew up with me. His mom was my mom's sister. She passed away due to a drug overdose. And so Michael came to live with us when I was in about 8th grade, and he was my big brother. There's a 4-year difference between the two of us, and he was great. He was driving me around, and taking me everywhere I needed to go. And so we've always been very close. Our birthdays are one day apart, so we'd always share them. And so he was kind of like my big brother growing up. He also has two daughters and a son, and it's just so great for us to have the time with these children that are just incredible. Like we've talked about before, so resilient and just so uh, driven in their own ways. Whether it be dinosaurs or softball or whatever it is, they're out doing their thing.
So when I'm listening to you talk about your sisters and your cousin, how just all these different things, it reminds me that when we watch people, you either learn what to do or you learn what not to do, right? And being
Yep.
the baby of the family, I mean, you had to be pretty taken care of, right? I mean, like nobody let you do anything by yourself. Everybody, everybody was there to take care of you. But, I'm the oldest of three. And I kind of always look at my youngest brother like, man, you had it kind of easy because like you got to see what we did. You learned from our mistakes. Maybe you pushed the limits a little bit more. Um, do you feel like that was the case with you that you were the baby, totally taken care of, could get away
A
with just about
hundred
anything if you wanted to?
100%. And honestly, even to this day, as much as I hate to admit it, Ross spoils me completely. I am so well taken care of. I'm so blessed to have a husband that when he wakes up in the morning, he's thinking about how can I make Michelle's day easier. And I truly wish I had more of that in me. I try really hard to do that for other people, but sometimes I feel like the people that you're closest with, the people that are right around you, it's not like you don't see them, but you just think, oh, they're okay, they're okay. But my whole life have been very well taken care of, well loved, and I'll say it, spoiled. I mean, it is what it is. But through that, I try really hard to not take it for granted. I try to appreciate all of the opportunities that I've been given. And that I think is one of the reasons why I try and give back, because I know I've been quite blessed just throughout my entire life. And not that it's not deserved, not that I don't work hard and do things,
Hmm.
but some of it's not deserved. Some of it I just lucked out and
And you'll
got that
take it.
part. Yeah,
And you'll take it,
exactly.
right? I mean,
Exactly.
so they say that you obviously have so much respect and love for your husband. You talk about him quite often, and you've brought him up today. You know, we talked a little bit about your dad, before the show and everything. Does Ross remind you of your dad? Because a lot of women choose someone that's like your dad, or how does that work?
Um, I don't think so. I To me,
You picked a different
Ross,
one.
yeah. I mean, and nothing about either of their characters, my dad and I were very close growing up. He was my partner. We would build our house was crazy at Christmas time. We would build these huge Disney sets and that type of
Hmm.
thing. We would have Santa Claus come out and we would do a toy drive and a food drive for our neighborhood and all of that. And so my dad is very outgoing. He is a very social person. Um, and Ross is a lot more reserved. But I
Hmm.
think that if I were to have picked someone that's like my dad, I don't know that we would have worked well. I'm very outgoing, very outspoken, and I think that by having Ross who complements that so well, I think that works out a lot better. But both of them were ball players. Ross played baseball. He was a pitcher. So I guess I have to thank my dad for at least some knowledge of baseball so I could follow along when Ross is taking me to the games and all of
Right.
that. But I do think that they are kind of different individuals. But that's all right.
So it sounds like you are more like your father, and Ross was someone that just helped to compliment you.
Absolutely.
We're talking about Ross a lot. You guys work together. You guys are together. Literally 24/7. I follow your Facebook feed. I know you guys well because I stopped by the shop, and you guys do a lot of work for us. Um, let's blow him up a little bit more because I know you like to talk about Ross. Talk about starting your business, and what you guys do in Simi Valley. American Trophies and Awards, of course. Talk about your company a little bit and talk about how you work with Ross.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I do want to say, and you mentioned earlier that you think that we remind you of you and Jackie, and that I just have to say is the hugest compliment, because when we look at people in our lives, there are not a lot of husband and wife teams. There's a lot
Mhm.
of great husband and wife couples, but it's very hard to run a business with your spouse. I mean, it
Mhm.
is challenging, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I don't think that I could have a better partner to support this, but he truly gave up his career for me. He gave up. He was in the movie industry. I was teaching at the time. My dad was getting ready to retire. He's the one that started the business. I had helped my dad when he first started out. I was 16, and I love engraving. I love crafts. I love all of that type of thing. So I was in the shop with him every single day. I took time off to go become a teacher, but everything in life was just kind of crazy. Ross was working all the time. I was working all the time. We didn't get to see each other ever. And we decided, let's take a big gamble. Let's buy the shop. Let's try and do this together. Let's both throw away everything we've been working our whole lives towards, and let's see if we can make this happen. Let's see if we can take this dream and actually turn it into what we believe we can. And I want to say we're not quite there yet. It's always a work in progress, but we have been able to successfully run this business together. It's growing into what we've dreamed it to be. But I think it's one of those things, you're never done. As soon, we just launched a website, and then there's all these other things we want to do. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of it, is that having someone that you can share this goal with. And then at the end of the day, when you want to ask, how was your day? I know how his day was. It was
Right.
fantastic, or it was really challenging. The machine broke, or, but having that person that truly understands everything that's going on in your life. I mean, I don't know what I would do without that. There are many times that I wish I could be more of a support for him, because he truly, oh, hi, Aunt Claire. um, but he is wonderful. He runs the business. He actually handles all of the logistical side, all of the finances, honestly, all the stuff that I do not want to do. And I feel like we talked about before, how I'm well taken care of. I'm well taken care of in that fact that I don't have to worry about those things. I know it's going to get done. And I am kind of, well, very much a type A personality, and I like things done my way. Ross will do it my way unless he has a better way. And he is probably the only person that will come up to me and go, "Oh, Michelle, I think you're wrong," which that's always a stressful thing to say to me. But I hate to admit it, he's always right. If he's calling me out for being wrong, he's already done his research, because he knows I'm gonna fact check, or I'm gonna do my stuff. But he's always looking for ways to make not only our company better, but our lives better. And then also the things that we offer. He's the one that's looking into new suppliers and all of these things that, if it were just me, there's not enough time for that. And I do talk about him a lot, because other people don't. He's quiet. He stays in the back. He's running the company. Truly, he is making it happen. And I'm the one that will answer the phone, or see people out front, because I love that. I love the social interaction. So a lot of times we hear, "Oh, Michelle, you're so great," and "Oh, Ross did that whole thing." So
Yep.
I probably do talk about him a little bit more, but that's just because I feel like he doesn't get the shine that he deserves from other people, and from me too. Sometimes, no one's perfect, but we're very lucky to be able to do it together. Some of the challenges that I'm sure you and Jackie can understand are, it's hard to turn it off. It's very hard to
Mhm.
turn off work. And so if we're going to dinner for a birthday or something like that, we're still going to talk about work. Something's going to spark an idea.
Yep.
But again, having someone by your side that's sharing these common goals, I think that's all right. I think it's okay that it's a lot about work, because we love it. We really do love what we do.
And before I ask you about that statement, because I think that's really important. Anybody that's truly passionate and loves what they do, it really doesn't matter what it is, it's going to be successful. But as a couple, we talked about how much you guys complement each other, and that his strengths might be your weaknesses, or the other way around. And I think that that's what makes you guys do so well. Because I agree, right? I get it, that there's another parallel for us, because there's so much that Jackie does that everybody's like, "Oh, Jason, good job." And I'm like, "Yeah, that wasn't me. Like, it just wasn't me at all. I just happen to be the one that talks a lot, right?"
Yeah.
Um, and so, having that complement each other, that ability to complement each other. Talk a little bit about the trophy business. I mean, I think that most people would go, yeah, trophies and awards, like, cool. Why are you so passionate about what you do?
That's a fantastic question. I'm going to start with just the trophies and awards part, and then I'm going to explain that we do a lot more than just that. But for me, um, for individual, I personally feel that recognition is very important. I think that it's a huge motivator for people. When I was teaching, I just had one little trophy that I would pass around, put it on the desk for each kid that was doing a fantastic job that day, and that little token, just letting them know, hey, I'm acknowledging you. I saw what you did. I appreciate what you did. I think it's so important. So for us to be able to be the ones that are creating these pieces, whether it be for a little league tournament or for a doctor that cured someone, we know that the pieces that we're creating are going to be important to the individual that's receiving it. With little league trophies, we might do thousands of them, but each one goes to one child. So if there's something wrong about that one piece, it doesn't matter that you got the other 999 right. It's that one. So for us, we
Hmm.
know that it's going to mean something. Especially, we get pictures of the student athletes sleeping with their trophies, the little ones and things like that. And then for adults, I think that in life we don't often say good job. You did a great job. Thank you for doing what you did. Now, in terms of participation trophies, it's kind of funny. We're in the industry, but Ross and I are not big fans of them. I feel like an award needs to be earned. You don't just get it. We have nieces and nephews, and they want, can I get a trophy? Well, what did you do? You have to earn a trophy. So like
Hmm.
my nephew that finished swimming lessons, okay, you got a swimming trophy. No, not everyone gets a swimming trophy, but you do, because you finish swimming lessons. But we try and teach that even to our family, that you don't just get a trophy, you have to earn it. And then the other side of our business is we do personalized gifts, which that is truly the thing that I feel like I'm most passionate about, because I love creating one of a kind items that I know it's going to make someone cry. It's going to evoke a memory, it's going to be something that they can truly cherish.
I
Oh,
think he was referring to the participation
oh
trophies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And let me just stop you there real quick, because you guys have always done, for the last several years, you do all our trophies for our tournaments, and this last tournament, we didn't do any participation trophies at all. And I had to kind of explain it, talk to the parents a little bit about that. And I kid you not, that as I'm telling parents, guys, hey, listen, just so you know, today there will not be any participation trophies. Every trophy will be earned. And I almost had a standing ovation of parents that were like, thank you for not doing that anymore. And I know that's kind of just a small part of it, but we've kind of become a society that you get rewarded for everything, just for showing up, just for waking up, just for breathing, right? But I do agree with you a lot about recognition being super important within, with a student. And I know the amount of pride that you take in, because every time you see one of our students with a trophy, I just know that you're smiling, because I know the way you feel about it, because they were recognized. And every one person, it gets that recognition. And so I totally agree with that altogether. And I want to get back to letting you talk about where that has taken you. But another thing is, I can call you anytime, and it wasn't that long ago that I just said, "Hey, Michelle, I need something, but I don't really know what I want." I hope my wife's not still listening. But and you were able to make something that, like, I knew I didn't have to think about it, because you were going to make it super special. I mean, I had the thought, so hopefully that counts for something.
it
But
does.
you always go the extra mile to make everything special. I mean, our last trophies, I didn't even ask for it, but you guys did this, on the plate. I don't know what it's called, but oh, she's listening.
Yeah.
Of course she is. Look, hi. Okay, yes. But it had on the plate. It had the logo, like, just the small little touches that you guys do just show that you're not just a trophy company turning out business. And I mean, although you guys do a great job, you take a lot of pride in it. Thank you, Jackie. She said watermark. It's a
Yeah.
watermark on the thing. It looks super cool.
um,
So let me go back to, so now the residual effect of doing what you do in your business, you're able to give back to the community. You're able to help out.
Absolutely. So we talked about how we feel it's really important to recognize people. And when the pandemic first hit, we were seeing, especially in students, like no one is recognizing that these children, I mean, their children are, their world is flipped upside down. They are now responsible for learning on a computer, and they just stepped up and they did it and they weren't complaining. So Ross and I think we were just scrolling through Facebook and we saw a quote about, oh, these kids deserve something, for what they're going through. And we went, they absolutely do. So we decided, at that point, we were kind of shut down. And so we decided we want to recognize individuals by sending them a medal. We can safely mail a medal in the mail. You don't have to come in. We can do all the COVID protocols. And we thought, oh, this is going to be great for children. And we thought, oh, how many people really are going to want? We thought it was just going to be a small number. Well, it ended up being over 500 medals that we shipped out all throughout the United States. A lot of them were for children, but we were shocked at how many adults were getting nominated. And it was everything from healthcare workers to, we had children nominating their parents, which is just the sweetest thing, community members, teachers, just everything. And so that was so neat to us that we thought, I mean, we just put a little post out on Facebook, hey, anyone want a medal? Let us know. We'll take care of it for you. And it totally blew up. And for us, I think a lot of people had challenges, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, of, Ross and I just wanted to know, how can we help? What can we do? What can we do to help right now? And that was one of the things that we did. And it was just so great. And then we got the pictures back, like you said. Anytime we see people with our products, oh, we get the biggest smile on our faces, because that's truly what we're doing it for, is for them to feel appreciated. And so we were getting pictures back of people of all ages, nurses in COVID units wearing our medals, just all
Mm-hmm.
of those things. So for us, we feel so blessed to be able to give back. That was across the whole nation, but mostly we do a lot of donations and stuff locally, and whatever we can do to help recognize anyone that needs that little extra pump up.
I thought that was such an awesome way to kind of lift spirits a little bit, because, like you said, it was like right in the middle of COVID, and it was like, how could we recognize people? What could we do? Just another example of the kind of people that you are, because you sent these out free of charge. I mean,
Yeah.
all you had to do is get nominated, and what a cool way for people to recognize someone else and just lift somebody's spirit. So I thought that was a really, really great idea. Really genius marketing, by the way, I'm just going to say, but also, very thoughtful at the same time. And, you brought up nurses, and you guys also donated, I believe the number is over 400 face shields for local healthcare workers. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was not just us, but with a team, it ended up being 4,200 face
Oh,
shields. So you
so
just need
I
a
was off
little
by a
zero.
zero. Okay. Wow. 4,000. That's amazing.
And that again was through social media. I am in quite a few Facebook groups for engravers. I'm a master engraver, so I like to try and give tips and things like that when people are struggling. And so in one of the Facebook groups, someone said, "Hey, is there anyone close to Los Angeles that would be willing to help us out? We have the material, we just need your time." And
Hmm.
it was kind of funny because I went, oh, I can definitely do that. We can cut anything like that. Well, we got this material, and it is the hardest thing I've ever had to cut in my life, because the way it's manufactured, as soon as our laser would cut it, it would fuse back together. And so something that I thought, oh, that's going to be no time at all, we can knock that out in a day, it ended up taking about 2 weeks for Ross and I to run all of them. But again, it was so worth it because we were getting messages back, just people that were eternally grateful, because at that time there wasn't personal protection equipment available. There were not face masks, and so these were the face shields that went over the masks to kind of help protect them. And it was so neat because I didn't know who this woman was that had brought it up on Facebook. Well, it turns out it ended up being a gentleman by the name of Eddie Yang, who is responsible for creating the Iron Man suit and all of these other crazy special
Huh.
effects that the woman that we were working with, she knew him. He was commissioned to do this because Hollywood was shut down. I mean, everything was just shut down. The person who coordinated the pickup for us, I spoke to her on the phone, and she had just the most amazing voice. It was one of those things. I got off the phone and I told Ross, that woman just, she had, I couldn't even describe it. Well, she does voiceovers for video games and stuff like that. So through this simple Facebook post of, can anyone help? Yeah, we'll help. We got connected with these incredible individuals in Hollywood that are doing just great things. And here we think, oh, we're just a trophy shop cutting some face shields. But it was really, really a great experience for all of us to collaborate, and just the power of social media. Someone asking, hey, can you help? Yeah, let's help. Let's make this happen. And we did.
That's so amazing, and I was gonna bring that up. You know, the power of social media. I mean, it is amazing the opportunities that come up if your eyes are open, if you're looking for that opportunity to help out. And I thought it was very, very unique and very appropriate that you're a master engraver on the Master Motivation Show.
Sure.
So yeah, you know, you guys have a strong social media presence, and again, you know, you're very involved in your community. I think it's because you're the type of person that looks for how can I help, right? I think that that's kind of the mindset, is you're looking for ways on how can I help, what can we do, what else, you know, what else is out there, because you have, you know, an amazing skill to provide these products. And I mean, you guys do everything from trophies to medals to face shields to plaques. You did this cup, you know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, you guys have done just about everything. And really quick, I have to do it because I know he wanted to be on the show, but Ross is saying,
Oh,
don't listen to that shine stuff for Ross. She is absolutely amazing and deserves all the bright lights. She is the straw that stirs the drink, the backbone of our family. What a good dude. I mean, always giving you praise. Such a good dude. And he's just kind of, he's probably over there working. He's in the background, but he still had to drop the comment. Good for you, Ross. I love it.
oh, I'm truly blessed. The best partner in life that I could ever imagine. Um, don't know what I would do without that man. I mean, it. I need the recognition. You know, it's important to me to recognize other people. I feed off of it tremendously, and he is so good about providing that. And I think that's important in life, is no matter who you're with, you need a partner, you need a support system, you need a friend, you need someone that understands what you need and can give it to you, and vice versa. You also have to understand what they need and provide that for them as well. But I'm so lucky, man.
Yeah, you're going to tear up a little bit, I
I
think.
know, I know.
You know, I think that that may be what you said just now about having a partner and having that support system is probably a really great takeaway for a lot of people that are watching this video, or will watch it later. Because as you said in the beginning, you know, it's not easy running the company and doing what you guys do. I mean, you guys are working together literally 24/7, and even when you're out, still talking about the business, and somehow it still all comes together, and you make it work. I do want to highlight one more thing, and that was, I'm not sure if it was last year or 2019, but you received the 40 under 40 award.
We
What was
did.
what was that like?
That was surprising, because I mean, we've donated the 40 under 40 awards for a long time, and so we see all of these great names coming through. We do awards all the time, and for us to win one, it was just kind of surreal, you know. It was almost like when I was preparing for today, I was talking to my family at Mother's Day yesterday, going, he's interviewing me. I feel like, what am I going to talk about? All of these people that have gone before do all these tremendous things. And they reminded me, Michelle, here's all the things that you guys have been doing, but sometimes you don't always see it yourself. So to be nominated for an award like that, and I mean, I only had 7 years left. I needed to do it sooner rather than later.
Right.
But no, it was really a big honor for us because truly, Ross and I, we don't do what we do for that. We do it out of the goodness of our heart. Really, we get so much out of the donations and the community service that it's not for an award, but to be honored, it was really special. And then we kind of saw what it means to other people when they're getting these awards. And then it was just, we kind of got to giggle about it the whole time as we're doing our award. I asked Ross, do you want me to make this one a little crooked, or do you want to keep it? But it was a big honor for us to be recognized, just with such a great group of other individuals that are giving back to the community. I think this world would be a much better place if everyone just gave what they could. Ross and I, we're just a couple. It's just we're two people, but every day we try and do what we can. And I think if everyone just did that, we would all be much better off.
I agree. It is hard to step back sometimes, and because you're so engrossed in the daily grind, right? You're working, you're doing things, you're turning out the product, you're recognizing other people, and you just don't have the opportunity to step back sometimes and go, man. I mean that was pretty amazing for some people. You guys have done the awards for Sim Youth Baseball, huge league in the area. You did the face mask. I mean, to you sometimes it's our work. It's our passion. We love to do this, but you don't step back enough to think how it made, everybody feel, how it made the individual feel, how it really changed an event. You'd be surprised going to to award ceremonies, and people look at those awards and they're like, dang, those are pretty nice awards. Maybe I'd like to win one of those one day, but again, like you said, you don't really do it for the award, but being recognized always feels good. And I think your humbleness in saying we're just a couple, we're just a husband wife team that like does what we do and we love what we do. It just speaks volumes too, that you're humble enough to just say, this is what we do. This is what we love to do. And yet the impact that you've had, not just in what you do in your business, but what you do. Oh, you got a cat in the background.
I do.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Squirrel. Totally got distracted. Um, but what you guys do really has a long lasting impact too, because I listen, I can remember I have my very favorite trophy that I have in my life is a trophy that I got like fourth place in my first tournament, but it was my first trophy,
Nice.
and it just brings such a good feeling of, looking back. Some people are trophy collectors and they just love to have their trophies. It used to be all the rage in the karate schools that you would fill your front window with the trophies. But, people look back at that because it's kind of it's a way of making bullet points, being recognized here and there for the things that you've done. But again, being humble enough to say, yeah, we just do what we do. That says so much about you. And I think that anybody that knows you and anybody watching is like, yep, that's Michelle. That's what she does. So we're getting pretty close to time. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask anything you want to ask Michelle. I'm sure she's open to answering any questions you have. But you've given us a lot of lessons and just a lot of things throughout the conversation we had over this last hour. And I just hope that other people really latch onto that and have that same mindset, because you're a giver. You're you're a very creative person, very thoughtful person, in my opinion. I truly appreciate you, and I love following you on social media, because you're one of those people that posts like the really good stuff, and I don't have to like hit unfollow, because there's so many people on Facebook that we just tend to focus on that negative energy a little bit too much. But when you focus on the opposite, it's amazing how things change. And I'll share this with you real quick. Dane Evans says, thank you for sharing your story. He will be in touch as he has a couple things that he needs done. So yeah, he does all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm sure he'll find a way to use your awards. Michelle, is there anything else, any final thoughts that you want to close? Are you crying?
I my eyes just watering a little bit.
You should have just said
We'll
yes. You
blame
just
Ross. Yeah.
yeah. So
um,
any closing thoughts?
Really, I just think that if anyone's watching and wondering, like, what can you do in this world to make it better? Whatever you can. It doesn't need to be something big. You don't have to worry about changing everything. Just sometimes it's just a simple smile. Hold the door open for someone. See if there's something that you can do to help others. I think that really, we are all blessed with gifts, whether or not they be, someone being creative or a good speaker or things like that. Try and figure out what your gifts are and how you can use those to benefit others. And I think that's really it. I mean, and the only other thing, because he's such a big part of my life, my partner, get a partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's your husband, wife, whoever it may be. You need someone in your corner, because life gets really, really hard sometimes, especially with what everyone has just survived with the pandemic. You need someone that is going to have your back, that's going to be there to tell you, hey, you're wrong, and you need to uh, be able to own it and learn from them. So just surround yourself with people that are positive. Don't get caught up on social media. That is crazy. There are craziness being posted. Just stay positive. We'll all get through what's going on right now, and we're almost back to our normal lives. And I think we can all just keep going forward from there.
What I took away from what you just said is the ripple effect is truly powerful, because like you said, you don't need to change the world in a day. If you just change your mind and change one person a day, imagine the impact. And like you said, as simple as a smile or holding the door, or giving someone recognition that they might need. I think that ripple effect can truly be powerful. It really is. And having a partner, couldn't agree with you more. Whether it's your wife, husband, partner in life, just a friend, but that support system in any time, because your support system also provides accountability too.
Yep.
And I think accountability is huge. I find that my wife holds me accountable, to what I preach quite often, and I can't appreciate that. I truly appreciate that so much. So, Michelle, I want to thank you again for being on the show and just sharing your story and speaking your truth. It's important for people to hear, and it's important, like you said. I wanted to recognize you for all that you've done. So that's why you're here today. Thanks
Well,
again.
thank you very much. It's been an honor.
You are very welcome. And guys, just a quick update. If you're still watching with us, we got a couple more interviews. As a matter of fact, we still have, the rest of 2021. I have a guest every single Monday. And coming up next week, we have a really good friend of mine, David Starachi. I say friend, someone that I actually really looked up to as a child and as a young martial artist, who is one of my favorite instructors. He'll be on with us next week. I have my instructor, my very first instructor in martial arts, who will be on here. Dennis Ichikawa will be on May 19th. And two more guests this month. We got Danny Cleary, the youth minister here at Holy Cross Church, one of the greatest dudes that I've ever met. Probably one of my best friends and someone that I share a lot with. Heck of a professional wrestler too, by the way. But you'll get to hear from Danny. And then Tony Fournier is another guest coming up at the end of May. So please tune in, guys, and check out our YouTube channel. Share these videos. Maybe someone hearing something here on these videos just might brighten their day. I know if they listen to Michelle, it's going to make them smile. So thanks again, Michelle. We'll see
Thank
you.
you.
We'll stop in the store soon. And guys, again, if you need anything or have any comments, throw them in the chat. We'll catch up with you. And I'm just going to close it out with our video. And Michelle, I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a great week.